All right, everybody. It is Thursday. I was just looking at the calendar. I cannot believe it is August 24th already. So my name is Dee, and I'm glad you guys are here. And I'm glad so many of you showed up on the call. So we're doing these calls once a week, 30 minutes, really just trying to give some practical information to help you move your business forward. And we know you're busy, so thanks for taking time. And what we thought we'd do tonight is just spend a little time working with the new health assessment that we have, and some of the key questions that we can ask clients and really be listening. I think the bigger point there is listening. What are we listening for in order to help us identify and help the client identify where they're going, and more importantly, help us be able to help them, especially if they become clients down the road. So I wanted to, reintroduce Meg Johnson. So Meg, give us a wave there. So Meg joined our team last month, but Meg and I actually started working together. She was, of course, my client to begin with. So what I wanted to do is Meg and I are going to do a little role playing with the health assessment form. We're going to go back in time to when we originally talked. So we're going to role play as if we were having our preliminary conversations. And then we're going to just talk about some of the questions I asked her, some of the things that were going through my mind in terms of maybe starting to present the whole trilogy to her transition to coaching, and then what has happened so far, because we all know that, she's had a lot of success with people being attracted to what she wants to do, what she's offering in terms of the program. So the first thing is just to talk a second about the health assessment. Do you guys all know what this is, the health assessment? Because I can pull it up on the screen. Do you guys have them? Give me a nod. Yes. Okay, so I'm not going to pull it up because I think it'll be easier if we're more visible to you guys, but I am going to read from it. So the purpose of the health assessment is, and if you're not using it yet, if you've been an experienced coach, I encourage you to transition now to the new health assessment form. And it is a work in progress. They are working on it. We know the lines are small. We know that right now it's not asking all the questions around the trilogy. We know I think they added room for the address, but there's work to be done, and it's coming. And from what I understand, it's coming soon. But in the interim, go ahead and use what we have. And the reason for that is it's for duplication down the road. So for example, Zena just joined us this week as a team member. I can quickly show her, she's going to get this in her kit, and the first time we have a client to talk to, well, we've already had one, the next time we have one, she can be following along right on the same form. So that could happen to you tomorrow, right? So one of your people, clients may have a referral, and you talk to them about coaching, and they become a coach. So you want to have a system that's duplicatable. So go ahead and jump in with it, and we'll go ahead and start. So Meg, I'm trying to think, how far back was our original conversation? Probably last fall, maybe?
Yeah, in December.
In December.
Mm-hmm.
So just Meg and I know each other. We actually knew each other just really through my husband, Larry, because they had worked together at Ron Blue. And back in the days when I was working at the insurance agency, I'd actually helped her family write their insurance for their new home and all that. And so we had become Facebook friends. And so she saw what I was doing on Facebook and I guess reached to me. I don't really know how that transpired. But as we would always do, we would do a preliminary conversation, right? So the purpose of this is because sometimes when we're helping somebody, when we're talking about the program, the most important thing is we want to identify what they're looking for, right? We want to understand what their struggle is and why they've struggled with it, why they want to get healthy, and possibly what's gotten in their way in the past. Because we know that in the current mindset of most people, and it's just the way of the world, the way that dieting has always been approached, it's always approached as solving a problem. So, okay, I've got to fix this number on the scale. That number's got to go down by 30 pounds or whatever the number is. And we see that with our clients. And if we start just coaching towards the weight loss and just saying, oh, okay, I can help you lose 30 pounds. Let me show you how to do it. We're still in problem solving mode. And Dr. A's Habits of Health, Chapter 3 on motivation is all about creation. So what we want to do with our clients is we want to start the reorientation process on the first call with them. So we want to, ask questions about them, immediately put them at ease and find out where they are. And then when we get to the point of, okay, where do you want to be? It's not about the 30 pounds. It's about what's that 30 pounds going to do for you? What are you going to be able to do that you can't do now? How's it going to make you feel? How's it going to affect your family? Because when we do that effectively, somebody might have come into that conversation hesitant and thinking about how much it cost and really thinking about this as a commodity and whether or not they want to do it. But even through that, that could take place, that conversation and these questions could take place in like 3 or 5 minutes. But we can actually get them excited, actually start to see, and they can start to picture where they're going, so that when we talk about our plan, et cetera, the odds are it's going to align probably easier than it may have before. So I'm just going to kind of read off the form so you guys can know that I'm not making this up or whatever. And we can all use a little bit different verbiage or a style if you have it, but we want to stick to the script as much as possible. So Meg, we'll just go into role play mode. So, thanks for taking time to chat with me. I remember back when my coach, when I reached out to my coach to find out about the program, I was a little uncertain, not sure what it was all about. So I just want to really ask a couple of questions just to assess where you are now, where it is that you want to go, and so that we can design the program that would be the best fit for you. So is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's just start by helping me understand, like, where are you right now? What's going on with your health right now? Like, why are we having this phone call?
Yeah. So I just had a baby 2 months ago, and I have some baby. Yeah, thanks. It's been a whirlwind. So I have some baby weight I'm trying to get off. I want to get off 30 pounds, and I just left TJ Maxx and I bought clothes that are way too big that I'm just not happy with. So
you don't like the size that you had to buy?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So 30 pounds. Are you taking any medications or any medical conditions I would need to know about?
No, but I am nursing.
Okay, so you're nursing. And are you nursing 100%? Is that all of her food intake, or is she also on some solids?
100%.
100% nursing. Okay. Well, we do have a special program for that, so we'll talk about that, a little in just a little bit. So, is there anything else important you want me to know about your current state of health other than, the fact that you're 30 pounds overweight? Any aches or pains or issues related to it? Not really. Okay, great. So as we look to the future, and this is what I like to say to people, I always just say, well, I know I can help you lose 30 pounds. But as we look to the future, what is it you'd like to achieve? So you said you'd like to lose 30 pounds. But what does that really mean for you?
I want to feel like myself again. I don't have a lot of energy right now, and I'm not sleeping a lot with the baby, and then I've got a 3-year-old. So I need some more energy, and I don't like what I look like in the mirror, and I don't like taking pictures, and I want to feel better.
Okay. All right. And when you say you want to feel like yourself, like, what's a time in your life that you felt really good about yourself, that was what you're looking for?
Yeah, I think back in 2010 when I got married, I felt really great about myself and how I looked and just how healthy I was back then. So I want to get back there.
And about how long ago was that?
That was about 7 years ago.
About 7 years ago. All right. So I know. So I heard you say you've got a 3-year-old. Is that right?
Yeah.
3-year-old, 2-month-old. So what else has changed in your life that's kind of led to where you are now with your health?
Yeah. So, I was working at Ron Blue, and that job was just really stressful. Had a lot on my shoulders. And, I was taking exams and all kinds of stuff. And so I just about 10 pounds crept on from then. And then when I got pregnant, I gained 20 more pounds.
Okay. So kind of the sedentary lifestyle because of the work and the studying and all that was catching up. And are you working now? Are you working now, like, as well? Are you?
Yeah, I have a part-time job. It's just a hobby. It's like 5 hours a week.
Okay. And do you see yourself going back to work when your daughter gets older?
I would like to. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I definitely would like to do something.
Okay. And what did you do when you worked?
I was a financial planner.
Okay. All right. And so one more question. So if I understood you correctly, you know, you really, it sounds like you want to get your confidence back. You want to be able to get in front of the camera again and feel good about it, and have more energy, sleep better, lose those 30 pounds. So just a really, it sounds like a more energetic version of Meg. So how's that going to affect your family when that happens?
Man, I'm going to be able to get on the floor and really wrestle with my son, which is going to be great. I'll have more energy for him and be able to just serve and love on my family so much better if I feel better about myself.
And if you can get down and play on the floor with him and really connect in that way, how's that going to change your relationship?
It's just going to make us closer and going to like strengthen our bond together. I want to make these years count when I'm with him at home.
So create some memories and
yeah, absolutely.
So cool. And so then, yeah, so I kind of summed it up. So do you see where that was going in terms of, you know, it wasn't just she wanted to lose the baby weight, right? It could have been real easy to take that and say, okay, I can help you lose the baby weight, you know, and move on. So going from there, any questions around that before we move on? So when you're questioning people, no? Okay. So very good. So that's a key piece of the puzzle. And I'll be honest with you, it's real easy to miss that. Because a lot of times people will call us, and I call them credit card throwers. Like if they're a referral from somebody and they're like, you know, whatever, here, I just want to do the program. But if we don't do the digging, and really a question I missed with asking Meg, usually what I'll ask people is, have you tried anything else? Have you tried on your own? And what's gotten in the way? So usually that'll give you a clue, like if they're an emotional eater or stressful eater and stuff, because then that's going to help us when we're coaching them down the road. We know what the potential pitfalls are going to be. So moving on from that, so of course, painting the picture with Meg, then what happened was, of course, she started on the program. She did great. We had every week, we talked every Wednesday, right, Meg?
Right.
Right. And it was a verbal call, right? And what you talked about that was important to you, that connection.
Yeah, that accountability was really key. It kept me on track knowing that you were going to call every Wednesday.
Right. So always making sure your calls are verbal with people, you know. And did we talk long when we talked?
No.
About how long do you think each call was?
Probably 5 minutes.
Probably 5 minutes. Yeah. And usually within those calls, I'd ask her about her kids. I'd ask what was, you know, trying to get a better picture for what was going on in her world. And I think it was actually maybe in a subsequent conversation that I found out you were doing the thing for 5 hours a week. And so, you know, from my perspective, and this is what I want us to be thinking about, is that we have a lot to offer people, right? So we have the ability to offer them this great health program, but we also have the ability to offer, just because, and we know this because we're all sitting in this chair, in this room, or, you know, on this call, but we also have the ability to offer them health coaching. But usually in order for health coaching, or for somebody to be receptive to the idea of health coaching, it's got to fill some sort of need for them. So of course, what I saw with Meg is, I knew from my husband's my conversations with Larry in the past, I knew that Meg was successful in her other job. So I knew that she was, you know, a good person in terms of being driven and that sort of thing. I kind of had a feeling she might want to be home with her kids and do something. So, you know, I'd asked her that question. So then I think we talked about it a little bit along the way, right, Meg? Do you remember how any of those conversations went?
Yeah, I was not really engaged in the conversations. I remember the first time you talked about getting my before picture because maybe I'd want to be a health coach, and I was like, okay, but no. And so you kept on planting the seed, and I kept on being like, I don't know. But you were like, you know, you kept on going, and eventually, like, I got the picture.
Did it feel icky? Like, did it feel icky? Like, if I asked you about it, did you feel like, oh, she's bringing that up again?
No.
Okay, so that's an important point. Go ahead.
It was a compliment to me. Like, it made me feel good that you saw something in me. It sounded so scary, and I just wasn't ready.
Okay. So that's good to know. So if somebody says no to it, like, we don't have to necessarily feel like we're bothering them or we're bringing it up, or no means no. right? There's some situations no means no, but in our world, usually no means not yet when it comes to the health program or possibly with coaching. So that's a really good example. So then we got closer, we got closer to your transition time. You were approaching your date, and I just popped the question, right? I just asked, would you be interested in exploring this? So what made you say yes to it?
I think the next step was, you said, would you be interested in getting on a call with me and my health coach to learn more? So I had watched the webinar, and then I was talking to Susan Pallas, and Susan was just acting like I had already said yes. She was like, I can just imagine, I guess I had mentioned something about my mom and wanting to get my mom healthy. And Susan said, I can just imagine when we're going to be on a team call and you're going to tell me how great your mom's doing, and that's your coaching. And I just was like, okay, I think that can happen. So yeah, I think that's how it
That's good. So that's, you guys, we talk about team celebration calls, right? So what I did is I brought Meg to a celebration call with my health coach, who was Susan Pallas. So that's the value of that. So, I had said to Susan, I've mentioned about health coaching, she's not ready. But then Susan was like, who would be on your heart to help? So she kind of played what if. So what if you did help somebody? What would that look like? And she said she'd like to help her mom. And then Susan took it a step further and painted the picture and said, wow, what would that feel like if you could help your mom? So she started visualizing for Meg her success in it. So very good. Very good. So you made the decision, and we talked about so you had a couple family members that were interested right away,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
A couple. But then what was that?
My brother and my mom and my mother-in-law.
Okay. So you had 4 right there? 3 or 4?
Mm-hmm.
And then your husband went on too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And your husband. So then it was time to maybe start spreading the word.
Right.
Right. So rather than me ask you questions, just tell, if you're comfortable with it, just share a little bit about when you thought about coaching, when you thought about reaching out to people, what that felt like, and what was your mindset around it all?
Yeah. The biggest hurdle for me in becoming a health coach was the idea of using social media to get clients. I didn't like that feeling because my newsfeed on Facebook is cluttered with Rhode Island Fields and Beachbody and all that. People trying to sell things all the time. And so I was anxious about that. And through talking to you at some point, we kind of unpacked that. And I thought, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen by me posting on social media, right? Like somebody may unfriend me, or I may annoy somebody, which, doesn't really matter. But what's the best thing that can happen through posting on social media? Somebody's life could be changed. The way that I feel about myself, somebody else can feel that way and gain confidence and gain their life back. And, when you think about it, it's not even a question. Who cares if I annoy somebody on Facebook if I can change somebody's life?
And so you took that leap. So you did your before and after, right? And did it. Was it hard to hit enter?
It was so hard. I almost took the post down. I really did. I had to walk away from my computer. It was hard, but it was so encouraging too, because people just started commenting, and people, we started inspiring people just by, my story, which was great.
And we, of course, if for any new coach on the line, we do have a health coach. We have Facebook training, so if we do put a picture out there, how do we respond? So Meg was great with that, with, checking that and responding or whatever. So you had a lot of interest right away. So I just want to talk for a second about, what's your world in terms of connections? How many Facebook friends do you have? And that, just to get an idea of kind of the population who saw your post.
Yeah. I think I have somewhere 900 Facebook friends.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's about it.
Okay. And do you friend request everybody you know, or is it usually your closer friends? And
right. I've really tried to limit Facebook because I post so much about the kids. So I've really kind of tried to limit Facebook over the years. And now I'm being a little bit more generous about who I'm friending and I'm, being friends with on Facebook, but yeah.
Yeah. So what I know about Meg is that, Meg leads with her heart with everything. And so she's well connected, and so well connected with relationships with people. So I think that when she did post and she put it out there, there was a trust factor with her because people knew her. They knew kind of what she stood for and who she was. And that happens outside of social media, right? Because usually these are relationships you've had with people through the years. So any takeaway I would say on that for us is if maybe you don't have 900 friends. I mean, I know I certainly didn't when I started on social media. Is just to think about your world, or if your network is small, just think about ways that you can, connect more deeply with people, because I think it's authenticity that radiates, and that's what people see with that. So you got hit pretty hard, right? Lots of interest, lots of people signing up. But did everybody you talked to, did everybody want to do it?
No, not everybody wanted to do it. Some people weren't ready. And so kind of my response now when somebody says no to me is I say, okay, I'm going to root for you no matter what. Like, keep me posted on your progress. And it's been amazing. I had a husband and wife I was working on, and they sent me no. I was in Target. I was with Will and the kids, and so I texted him back like, I'm rooting for you no matter what. Then an hour later, he texted and he was like, okay, we went and had Mexican, ate cheese dip. Like, we're in. We want to talk to you right now. We want to order our kits. Like, we're in. So, but some people have just been hard nosed, and some people I haven't heard back from. So definitely not everybody has joined.
So that's a good point. I think that, and I know Debbie Pasco, you recently had a story where, she had kind of asked somebody how ready they were, and they weren't that ready to move forward. And she was like, okay, well, I'm just not sure this is a good fit right now or whatever. And, I think when we're not attached to the outcome, so often we just so want them to become a client. Well, they feel that regardless of the words that come out of our mouth, they feel that. But by Meg saying, okay, well, no matter what, I'm rooting for you, it took the pressure off. And so they realized that it really was, then they had to look at themselves. So I imagine when they ate the Mexican and felt like garbage, they were like, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do that program. But how does that make, you had a really good phrase that you said, because you and I had a conversation about it. And I don't know why we might have had that conversation, but we talked about, that you just have something really good to offer to people and not really being attached to the outcome. Do you remember what you said around that when we were talking? Like flight attendant versus.
Do what?
Flight attendant versus piranha.
Oh, right. Well, one of the things you had shared with me, which helped take the pressure off, is that, so I'm stealing this from you, but you'd said, I see myself as an airline stewardess. Like, I'm just offering people, you want to get healthy, you want to get healthy, like not, making you make a choice, like not forcing this down your throat, but just offering a solution. And so that helped me so much, because there are so many options out there and so many different things could work for somebody. They could just diet and exercise and they'd probably lose weight, right? But like, this is something that I know will work for everybody. And it's a solution that worked for me, and I know it'll work for other people. So it's just, I try to think about that, think of myself as an airline stewardess and not as a piranha, like trying to get somebody to join Optavia for, they're never going to lose weight or whatever.
Yeah, I love that. That was revolutionary for me, and probably why I shared it was the fact of just not being attached to it. Like, you just got that drink cart, like the flight attendants does. Like, you want anything? You want anything? She doesn't care if you say no, right? She's just going to go to the next person that says yes. And so I think if we get to that point and think about, not that we don't care about these people, but we're just not attached to whether or not they do our program. So that's really good. And I just had another question that was slipped. It slipped. Oh, so when you also made a comment about your vulnerability and transparency with clients about your own journey and how you thought that was helping you.
Yeah. So lately I've been sharing with people like my high number in terms of how much I weighed and how much I lost and what I am now. And I found that the more vulnerable that I am with people and being willing to share my information, the more the safer they feel in coming alongside and joining me. It's just kind of something I fell into that I realized like, people seem to be responding really well when I'm being so open, because it's scary to tell somebody how much weight you want to lose. Like when I told you, even though are such a pro, I still kind of felt a little bit like a failure. Like I was a little embarrassed. So I think the more that we can break down those walls and like show people that we're for them and we've been in their shoes, the more the trust is going to go, and the more likely they are to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, the more I've been doing this, I mean, I would say probably personally, like, don't learn from Meg, not me in that department, because I probably wasn't as vulnerable as I could have been, especially starting out with this. And I am a lot more vulnerable with you guys, especially with the business now, letting you know, like, how shy, how insecure, how hard, that so much of this, like with my success in the business, has been through personal growth, that what I had to work through. Like, it doesn't come easy, and if I get up and speak in front of a group, it's because I've practiced and I've worked at it. It's not natural. So I think that is really true. And some of us a couple months ago did that story workshop with Allison, and just the importance of sharing your story with people. That's what people connect to with us. And something to think forward as we move forward, like when you're helping clients, because Meg, you have one health coach now on your team, Leanne, and Leanne became a health coach after just how many weeks on the program?
1 week.
1 week on the program. So a good example that if we posture it right with people and whatever that, and she's got 3 clients now, this Leanne does, it just becomes like, we don't have to be this expert where we've reached our goal weight, or we don't have, we can talk our clients off that expectation that, by being vulnerable and saying, hey, I found this program and it worked, do it with me. That can be the approach that we do. Meg, do you feel like you've done anything tremendously special, or do you feel like you've been following the process?
I feel like I've been following the process, doing kind of what you've been telling me to do.
Mm-hmm. Not reinventing the wheel or any of that. Just, yeah. And, Meg very early was just like, kind of like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like, I just want, and so she was, and just kind of, and follows through. But you've been very, very consistent. I have just two last questions for you. So I feel like, and it's something that I've always done with Facebook, is I really have tried. I'm out there a lot. I'm very, very visible, but I do try to make it authentic, and that it looks like it's me and my personality and that sort of thing. And you've been very strategic with your Facebook post, and you shared with me a little bit today about some of the research you did before. Can you share about that?
Yeah. So I've been researching how to get my posts to get to be in front of more people. And so one of the things that I saw is, the more I like someone else's post and the more they like some of my previous posts, the more likely they are to see my future post. So I may post a Motivational Monday quote and pick up Susie Q, and she may like that post and never like any of my weight loss posts, but my future weight loss posts are going to pop up for her because she liked that motivational quote. So the same goes for writing on somebody's wall or sending somebody a private message. The more we are engaging on Facebook, the more the algorithm's working in our favor as far as getting our information in their news feed. So I'm trying to mix up my posts, like do kid posts, crazy posts, business posts, but definitely keep a mix going so I can get different demographics.
Yeah, intermingle your personal life with it, and because that's what people you'll get more likes on that, because it's very relatable. Sometimes people are afraid to like our before and after, because they feel like if they like our before and after, then that means they want to do our program with, like, I think it's more of a reflection on the other people than us, even though they're looking at them. But they'll like a picture of, me wearing a motivational tank that my friend sent me, or Meg's 2-month-old daughter. So that's important. And then you also said you went out and looked at some of the top leaders, like a Dan Valentine, and you kind of looked at his wall and what he was doing, right? Just kind of mimicking that. So you've been extremely busy because you've taken on a lot of clients really quickly. Meg did reach executive director this month, which we're excited about. But you've got a life too, right? So you're home, you've got 2 children, what, 3 and under? Mm-hmm. So one question that was asked to me was, like, what does a typical day look like for you? Or like, how much time is this taking you, and how are you, and because a lot of other people work or they also have kids, and how do you make this all work? Because you've got a lot going on.
Right. I would say I try to get everything done. It's our work is heavier when we're onboarding a lot of people. So 2 weeks ago, I was onboarding 11 clients in a week. That week was very heavy in terms of time, right? But like this week, I'm only onboarding one person. So it really hasn't been, you know, I've been able to do everything in like an hour a day. So I try to devote at least 2 hours a day to my business. So I try to do some marketing, some like just research, like think about Facebook and look at Dan Valentine and kind of figure out, and then, you know, prospect calls. And anytime somebody wants information, no matter what's going on, that goes to the top of my pile, I make sure I give them first priority over anything else.
That's good. So that's evidence. So, you know, whenever you're looking at your business and what to spend your time on, you're always going to do what's going to move the dial forward. And moving the dial forward is what's going to potentially bring on a new health coach or a new client, because that's how we get more people healthy, right? So that's good. So she's got somebody who messages her and says, you know, I want info. Whoop, that goes to the top no matter what. But that's pretty manageable. I mean, all things considered, about 2 hours a day of consistency. So hopefully that sounds doable to you guys, you know, with, even if you are working or doing something else, that could be possible for you as well. So let's take a minute, and I just want to open it up. You know, Meg, thanks for that. And was there anything else you wanted to share? Just any thoughts on your head or heart with the group, with the team?
I think one last thing that I saw that resonated with me was on social media, we need to be a resource to people instead of look like we're always trying to sell something. So I saw that on something on Facebook one day. And so I decided to put together a snack guide. So I celebrated when my team lost 100 pounds. I said, hey, let me know if you want the snack guide. So it was a way I could be a resource to people, and that ended up bringing in some people I never would have kind of come into contact with. So that was good.
So that's good. Just offering something of value to them. So does that snack list you make up yourself, or did you pull it off Dr. A's website, or how did you do that?
Yeah, I pulled it off Dr. A's website. In Cinduit, it had the snack guide already attached to it. So I kind of cleaned it up a little bit and sent that out.
Great, great. So one of the things Meg did early on was we have an option to use Cinduit, which is a social media platform, and that where they can, you know, you can do your newsletter and do your welcome letter and all that. So when she started taking on a lot of clients quickly, she realized that would be a good investment in her business, just to do that, to save herself some time. So she used that.
And that's been huge.
Well, that's good. Maybe we can do another.
They send out, you can sign clients up for a trigger email where they get emailed every day their first month. And every day I have clients respond and think that I'm actually sending them this email, which is kind of funny because you just hit a button one time. So I'm getting great feedback from that.
Yeah, it's really great the way they've upgraded it. Maybe we'll do another training on Cinduit for anybody who might be interested, but there's some really great resources. And they even have tools like drip campaigns. Like, let's say you talk to somebody who is a not yet, you can put them on the list that was like, thanks for showing interest. And then, like, you know, on a scheduled basis. And it's really, these are marketers who do this. So they think it out, what would make sense. But it might be, you know, like a thank you, thanks for interest, let's stay in touch. And then maybe 10 days later, I came across this healthy recipe I thought you might like, but it looks like you handwrote, you know, like you wrote the email and sent it to them. So that could be something to consider. So before we wrap it up, it's been about 30 minutes. I hope it's been helpful for you guys. Any specific questions on what we talked about, or for Meg? All right. Well, very good. Well done. Thanks so much for your time, you guys. I hope it was helpful. And if you do have any follow-up questions, just feel free to reach out. But make it a great week. We have a solid week before the end of the month. So a lot can happen in a week. So continue, if you're participating in the focus group, continue to market that. Any questions, feel free to reach out. And also by the end of the month, if you want to register for convention for next year in St. Louis, if you register by the end of this month, it is the early bird pricing, and they will open up registration for the hotel if you want to go ahead and get a room at the host hotel. So that is a perk of being registered now. But otherwise, have a good night. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Thank you, Meg.
Thank you.